Between 1960 and 1970, the People's Republic of China still not escaped from the shadow of the Cultural Revolution. The class struggle started to derail from its original purpose to liberate the proletariat. It started to become the rivalry of ultra-nationalists and careerists. According to People's Daily in that period, publicity department of the Communist Party of China aggressively linked most of foreign countries with capitalism and imperialism. On one hand, the styles of publication, like North Korea today, was to cover the internal contradictions. Great leap forward caused the GDP of China after 1960 continued to decrease until 1969. In that year, the GDP of China finally started to restore and achieve 80% of GDP of China in 1960. On the other hand, under the background of Cold War, Chinese Communist Party always represented themselves as socialists to win the supporting from proletariat. These behaviors unquestionably strengthened the conflicts of ideologies between China and the NATO countries. For the USA, under the background of the Cold War, the after effect of the Marxism transferred the scars of the strong military power of Soviet Union among the USA soldiers into a kind of extreme anti-communism mood. Besides, from the degree of the Senate and Congress, the assistance to Chiang Kai-shek government also moved to the opposite side of the People's Republic of China. The conflicts, hostility, these factors made two nations seem never to stand together one day, but history was full of miracle and coincidence. The truth was, they did. Why? Well, Soviet Union played a more significant role in this incident. In 1964, the German-Allied conflicts tensioned the relationship between Soviet Union and China. China lost her alliance to accompany her for 20 years. Actually, the movement also mixed it with military factors. In the summer of 1969, millions of USSR armies built up in the margin of China, and the Soviet officials started to sound out other nations' attitude on the possible invasion of China. China must turn her side out of the socialism country to avoid her internal Great Depression and find new alliance against Soviet Union. The attitude to USA was, well, the USA rarely intervened in the conflicts between socialism countries in Cold War, but Nixon, the president of the USA, indicated cautiously that the USA should keep neutrality but try to be partial to China. According to Doug Kissinger, this was because the USA government wanted China in South Asia act as the front to prevent the expansion and ideology osmosis from Soviet Union. Another point was, the Vietnam War's seriousness weakened the international stature and economy of the USA. The USA's rapid desire to develop a new alliance to stabilize its stature and restore its economy. The opportunity appeared in the 31st World Table Tennis Championship held in Nagoya. The sports meeting did what it did for thousands of years, from ancient Greek to nowadays, offered a platform for two enemies to communicate together and start to understand each other. The first time, also the most meaningful time, the CCCP started to get in touch with the Western countries. The meaning of passing an olive branch to Western was as worthy meaning as Meiji Reformation in Japan in 20th centuries. And isolated countries start to get in touch with the outside world and learn to become modest and inclusive. The sleeping lion turned her sighting out of the Asia. The communication and the understanding of two countries in two polar of ideologies started. 1961, April the 6th, with the agreement from Chinese Chairman Mao Zedong, Chinese table tennis delegations invited American table tennis visiting China on the 31st World Table Tennis Championships held in Nagoya, Japan. 1971, April the 10th, U.S. Table Tennis Association President and Nazis, Cowan, Lustig, and others arrived in Beijing. Premier Zhou Enlai made specific arrangements for the visit, pointing out that this visit is a very good opportunity to open up the situation of Sino-U.S. relations. Premier Zhou Enlai, through Pakistan, extended an invitation to the U.S. leaders to visit China. 1971, April the 14th, Premier Zhou met with the table tennis delegations from the United States, Canada, Colombia, and other countries at the Great Hall of the People, and had a long walk with the American delegation. The Chinese and American table tennis teams held a friendly match. The American friends also visited the Great Wall and Tsinghua University. 1971, July 9th, Dr. Kissinger, National Security Advisor to the President of the United States, made a secret visit to China. 1972, February the 21st, Nixon, as the first USA president to visit China, arrived in Beijing. 1972, February the 28th, China and the United States signed 3 joint communiques, represented the normalization of China-US relations. Through of the diplomacy itself, it burned the whole international society. The first part is about the Latin America. Before ping-pong diplomacy, China had only one friend, Cuba. It was not until December 1970, not long before ping-pong diplomacy began, that China had a second friend in Latin America, Chile, who determined to be a socialist country. In September 1971, Chinese ping-pong team visited Chile and Cuba. In Santiago, President Allende watched the table tennis match. China successfully established diplomatic relations with many Latin American countries and seek for help from socialist camp. Turning to the country beside China, Japan. Because of ping-pong diplomacy, Japan Ping-pong Association and China Ping-pong Association had a meeting summary on inviting China to participate in the Nagoya World Ping-pong Championships. Japanese government eventually agreed on political principles of Japan-China relationship, put forward by Premier Zhou Enlai when he met with the delegation of Japanese Social Party in July 1958. The ping-pong diplomacy eased the international tension between Japan and China.
The announcement I shall now read is being issued simultaneously in Peking and in the United States. Knowing of President Nixon's expressed desire to visit the People's Republic of China, Premier Zhou Enlai, on behalf of the government of the People's Republic of China, has extended an invitation to President Nixon to visit China.
The world will never be the same after Nixon visited China. The unbreakable Soviet Union broke up. Leaders and people reached the defense of ideologies, sat together, and exchanged interests and perspectives to build a brave new world. Socialist leaders and leaders from capitalism wars union together once again after the Yalta Conference to confront the Soviet Union, the revisionism empire who abandoned the ideal to liberate all oppressed in the world. The sports, the table tennis built a bridge for two nations to understand and communication. The communication without ideology influences and interest exchanging finally facilitated to the cooperation between two countries in different polar. The sign of 3 joint communiques symbolized the beginning of this relationship. After Nixon's cabinet, President Reagan ended these negotiations and started the formal deployment with China. The communiques admired the One China principle with the promoting of the respective of inviolability and complete of Chinese territory. Besides the communique itself, the bilateral trade opened the door of China. The trading and technology exchanging between NATO and China started. The communication and trading between two sides of the world finally contributed to reform and opening up policy, and bring the China to WTO and open the global markets. In return, Premier Zhou admired China will not intervene in Vietnam War. Also, the aim of the USA to use China as the front to resist the Soviet Union ideology and military expansion achieved.